You know that feeling, right? Watching your monthly cloud bill just creep up and up and up, feeling totally out of your control? Well, what if I told you there's a clear roadmap to not just tame it, but to actually slash it? That is exactly what we're going to break down today. Let's get right into it.
75%. No, that is not a typo. This is the amount of potential savings that's just locked away inside the average unoptimized cloud bill. I mean, think about that. That's budget that could be going toward new features, hiring amazing people, or, actual innovation instead of just keeping the lights on. It's a huge number, and I promise you, it's absolutely achievable.
And that's the real question, isn't it? It feels like this giant, overwhelming mountain to climb. You've got dozens of services, maybe hundreds of instances, and this constant pressure to keep everything running smoothly. The good news is you don't have to boil the ocean. We are going to break this down into a simple, three-phase plan that starts delivering real value from week one.
All right, phase one. This is all about getting some quick wins on the board. We're talking about the low-hanging fruit. These are simple, super powerful actions you can take like right now to stop the financial bleeding and prove to everyone and yourself that cloud cost optimization isn't just possible, it's immediately impactful.
First up, and this is a big one, stop paying for idle resources. So many teams have their worker nodes, the virtual machines running their apps, just humming along at full capacity 24/7, even when traffic is dead at 3 a.m. The very first step is to make this infrastructure dynamic. You gotta let it breathe with the natural rhythm of your users.
So how do you actually do this? Well, the great thing is the tools are already out there for you. For your nodes, you can use something like Carpenter on AWS or the standard cluster autoscaler. And then for your individual services, use the horizontal pod autoscaler, the HPA, to automatically add or remove copies of your app based on real demand. A really good starting point is to aim for about 60 to 70% CPU use. Just doing that one change can cut your compute costs by 25 to 50%. Boom.
And this right here, this is another classic mistake I see all the time, over-provisioning. A lot of microservices are actually tiny, right? They only need a few hundred megs of RAM, but they're often running on these medium-sized machines. By simply dropping from, say, a T3.medium to a T3.small, you're matching the resources to what you actually need. That's an easy 30 to 35% saving right there, just for picking the right size.
Okay, this next one is going to sound so simple, you might think it's obvious, but you would be shocked at how much money is just burned here. Your development, staging, QA environments, are they running all weekend? Are they running at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday? Every single hour those environments are sitting idle. That's just money evaporating into the cloud.
So check this out. This number is staggering. By simply scheduling your non-production clusters to shut down, say from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. and over the weekends, you can save 60 to 75% of their total cost. This is pure savings. It has zero impact on your actual customers. It is the literal definition of a quick win.
Okay, so we've stopped the bleeding, we've got some momentum going. Now we're ready for phase two, structural savings. This is where we go a little deeper. Yeah, it's going to take a bit more planning over the next couple of months, but these changes, they strengthen the financial foundation of your entire architecture for long-term sustainable savings. Let's talk about one of my favorite tools in the cloud cost-saving arsenal, spot instances. Basically, these are the cloud provider's spare compute capacity, which they sell off at a crazy discount. For the right kind of workload, these things are an absolute game changer. So here's the deal. It's a simple trade-off, really. On-demand instances, they're guaranteed, you pay full price, they're always yours. Spot instances give you this massive 70 to 90% discount, but the cloud provider can take them back with just a little bit of notice. This makes them absolutely perfect for fault-tolerant stuff, things that can stop and restart without causing a problem, while you keep your super critical things, like your databases, safe on-demand. And this is what that blend looks like in a really resilient, cost-effective modern setup. You want to aim to run the majority of your applications, about 70%, on those super cheap spot instances. The other 30%, your absolute core, that stays on demand. It really gives you the best of both worlds, huge savings and rock-solid reliability. And the payoff for doing this? By adopting this blended spot and on-demand strategy, you can get an overall compute cost reduction of 45 to 60%. That's one of the single biggest levers you can possibly pull for long-term savings. It's huge. Okay, next up, let's talk about a trap that a lot of teams fall into, what I call microservice overkill. We love breaking services down for agility, but sometimes we just go way too far, creating dozens of tiny little services that each have their own hidden costs and operational headaches.
So look at this example. You might have 5 separate little services for your API gateway, notifications, profiles, whatever. Each one needs its own resources, its own pods, its own monitoring. It creates this baseline of overhead. Well, by strategically combining services that belong together, you just slash that complexity and all the costs that come with it.
And hey, the structural savings don't stop there. For your databases that are always on, use reserved instances. You can save 35 to 55%. For workloads that aren't performance critical, switch to basic storage and save another 20 to 30%. And for goodness sake, set up cost alerts. It'll prevent those heart-stopping surprises at the end of the month.
And that brings us to the final phase, the big one, architectural shifts. This is where we go beyond just tweaking the system we already have. This is where we start redesigning it from the ground up to be truly cloud-native and cost-efficient. This is the long game.
At the absolute heart of this phase is this concept of serverless. It's a simple idea, but it changes everything. Instead of you managing servers that are always on, the cloud provider does it for you. It scales everything up and down automatically to perfectly match demand. And here's the magic part. You only pay for the exact millisecond your code is actually running. You never, ever pay for idle time.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got your traditional VM-based service, where you're paying for that whole block of compute 24/7, busy or not. On the right, with serverless containers like AWS Fargate or Azure Container Apps, your cost is a direct line to your usage. For services with low traffic, the cost can be practically zero.
So the bottom line is this. For any of your services that are event-driven or have really spiky traffic, shifting them to a serverless model is a massive, massive win. We are talking about a 40 to 70% cost reduction for those specific workloads. It is simply the most efficient way to run code in the cloud, period.
So when you bring all of these pieces together, you start to realize, hey, this isn't just a technical checklist. It's really a cultural shift. It's about moving from reacting to a high bill to proactively building financial accountability into every single thing you do. That, my friends, is the FinOps mindset.
And here it is, your entire journey on one slide. In the first month, you nail those quick wins and build momentum. In months 2 and 3, you lock in those deep structural savings. And from month 3 on, you start that powerful architectural evolution to serverless. It's a clear, manageable, step-by-step journey.
And I think this quote just captures the soul of it all. This isn't a project you check off a list and then you're done. It's a practice you adopt. It becomes an ongoing process of always asking, how can we build this more efficiently? It's about making cost a first-class citizen in your engineering culture.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. This whole journey, it isn't really just about saving money. It's about what you can do with those savings. When you unlock 75% of your cloud budget, what new product are you going to launch? What incredible, innovative feature are you finally going to build? That is the real prize.